My name is Siaara Freeman. I am a literary arts teaching artist with Center for Arts Inspired Learning, and we are in collaboration with Cleveland Public Library. And today, I am going to help you find the world that is yours. This class will be dedicated to getting you to write a poem, but you can also write a short story, and you can build a map, and you can build creatures and landmarks to go along with this world that you have built. Now, when I was a kid, I loved the library. And one of my favorite things about the library was being able to discover different lands, different people, mythological creatures, things that did not exist right here in Cleveland, I could find myself in. And now, as an adult, Miss Cece still comes to the library to do that very same thing. And now I am a writer, so I have the opportunity to create my own worlds. And today, that's what I want to help you do. This is going to be a step-by-step process. I am going to be here with you every step of the way. So, let's begin. Step 1. I want you to get a piece of paper. A piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. Piece of paper, a pen or a pencil, and I need you to fold that piece of paper into 4 regions. First, you're going to half it, like so. And then you're gonna take this half, and you're gonna half it. And you wanna make sure you get the creases really good because you want these 4 regions to be separate. The finished product should look something like this, okay? I want you on one side of the paper to number each region. 1, 2, 3, 4. Step 2. This is where we begin to write. I want you to list 1 through 5 in each section of your region. 1 through 5 on each section of your region. And now we're about to answer some questions. So, get what you want to write with. I'm gonna use a pen. I would always suggest using a pencil. That way we can go back and erase if there are any mistakes. So, question 1, and I want you to answer. When I say question 1, you need to answer for each region. Each region should be different. So let's begin by deciding the type of regions we're gonna have. There are many different types of terrains. Maybe one of your terrain is mountains. Maybe one of your region is filled with mountains. Maybe another region is filled with deserts. Maybe you have a region that's full of rainforest. Maybe you have a region that's an island region. Perhaps you have something Arctic. Maybe it's cold where you're at. I want you to think about the different regions you can have. Also, if you're more of a water-based person, maybe your regions are all based in water. Maybe one region is swamps, the next region is lakes, maybe the next region is rivers, maybe the next region is oceans. So you have some time to play around. Miss Cece's gonna give you an example because I'm gonna do this with you, like I promised. So one region I'm gonna have is mountains. Another region I'm gonna have is rivers. Then I think I'm going to have rainforest. And then I'll finish it up with some deserts. I don't like the cold, otherwise I would have picked Arctic. Miss Cece does not like the cold. But this is not gonna be the typical terrain because you are the writer. So you're going to be able to decide what this looks like using your imagination, okay? So for each one, we're gonna have to answer questions. And our first question is, what is the weather like in each terrain? Now, when we say things like deserts, the automatic assumption is it's hot, it's dry. So we can absolutely put that. Hot, dry. But what if we used our imaginations? What else could happen if we just tapped into our fantasy world? So I think maybe it does rain in my desert, but in my desert, it rains candy. So it rains candy in my desert. It also snows in my desert because this is my world and I can do what I want. So it snows money. It snows money in my desert. And then I need you to do the same for each individual region. So you want to answer that question for each region. And again, that question is, what is the weather like in this region? Question 2, what imaginary beings or animals exist in this region? And this can be fun. Maybe you want to merge animals together. Maybe you like sphinx and mermaids and sirens and you want to pull from actual imaginary beings. That's fine too. Do whatever you like here. Miss Cece is going to put this siren and I'm going to put a sphinx and I'm going to make something up from my own head. And I think I'm going to put a scorpion and a frog together and make a forpian. So, forpians live in my desert where it's hot and dry, but occasionally rains candy and snows money. That's what you know thus far about my desert. But you should be answering one more time for each individual region, okay? So if you answered for deserts, you should be answering for rivers. We want to know what the weather is like with the rivers. We want to know what animals and supernatural beings exist. So those are 2 questions thus far. Our third question is, what kind of plants grow there? What kind of plants grow there? And again, with the desert, it gets iffy. When we think of desert plants, we probably think of cactus. So Miss Cece will put that. But what if, because this is my special world, it's only purple cactus that grow there? So I'm gonna put purple cactus. What if in my world, in my desert, there's sand hills made of sand that have gardens of sand flowers? So I just went ahead and used my imagination and made up 2 things, right? Doesn't sound like any desert I've ever seen, read about, or heard of thus far. The next question is, what kind of vegetables or fruits grow there? And again, you can make this up, or you can put actual vegetables and fruits, or maybe no vegetables and fruits grow there. Maybe only desserts grow there. Maybe only books grow there. Maybe only smiles grow there. You get to decide what you eat in your fantasy world. So joy grows on trees like a fruit in my world, and it's delicious. Whenever you're sad, you can just pluck a fruit of joy off of a tree in my desert, and you can be happy. So joy fruit, something I completely made up, and pomegranates, just because Miss Cece really, really likes pomegranates. So whatever you decide to grow and eat in your world is completely up to you. Maybe hot Cheetos grow in bushes. Maybe there are vines where we have candy and chocolate cake is stems for those vines. You get to decide. This is all up to you. And then our final question, and this is Miss Cece's favorite. I want you to tell me a secret about this region. What is something you can only know about this region if you have visited? Maybe the people speak a language where everything they say rhymes. Maybe this is a region where everyone can breathe underwater. What is special about this region? Maybe the sun never comes out. Maybe it's 3 moons in the sky in this region. What is special about this region? So in my region, there are 3 moons in the sky. The people who live in this region are naturally fast. So I give you 2 fun facts, 2 things you wouldn't know about my region unless you visited there. So at this point, you should have all of your questions answered for each region. Now, Miss Cece has some missing, but I do have an example here for you. At this point, you should fill in all of these questions and give the answers to each distinct region. Now, I want you to name the parts of your world and be creative, okay? Now that you've decided what it looks like, what grows there, what animals exist, what fun things happen there, doesn't this place deserve a name? And now that we have all these details, maybe it'll be easier for you to come up with a name, right? So in my desert, where it is hot, dry, and rains candy and snows money, maybe it is the sweet desert. Fun fact, when Miss Cece was a kid, I could never know the right way to spell desert and dessert. So in my head, it makes so much sense that a desert is full of desserts, right? So this is the sweet dessert desert. That is what I have named it. And I also can name other things. Maybe I want to name the plants that grow. Maybe I want to name some of those hills. And when you're naming things, you can name them after people you love, after things you like. Maybe your mountains are named after your mom. Maybe it's St. Mary Mountains. Maybe the rivers are named after your favorite rapper. Maybe it's a Drake River. I don't know. It's completely up to you. We are ready to write our poem or our short story. You should have so much information right here from your imagination already, plus your name, that when it comes down to writing this poem or this short story, it should be a piece of cake. All you have to do is invite me into your world. And by me, I mean the audience. I mean whoever you think is going to read this. Tell us what your world is like. And if writing feels too much for you right now, you can always do another art form to make this a little bit easier. So what Miss Cece decided to do was create a map. And this time, you're going to draw what you wrote. So what does hot look like? What does dry look like? What does raining candy look like? For Miss Cece's example, I would have to draw cactuses. I would have to draw hills made of sand and sand flower gardens. I would have to draw the trees growing the joy fruit. I would have to draw the 3 moons in my sky, right? Because I want everything that's on my list to appear on my map, so the world will be cohesive. And feel free, markers, colored pencils, rulers, glitter, whatever you have to your disposal. Even if you have little things. This is a lighthouse. Maybe I would stick my lighthouse in the river of remembrance. That's what I named this river. I named this river the river of remembrance. It's where you go to remember things. Maybe you forgot something, somebody's name. One sip of this river will make you remember. Another thing we can do is work with clay. So, Miss Cece went ahead and made mountains. As you can see, my little mountains aren't the typical mountains. They are pink and have pink snow on them. And it's called Mount Joy. Now, and this is just for a 3D effect. Maybe you don't want to just draw your mountains. Maybe you want to draw your mountains and give a 3D effect of your mountains. Whatever your creative process is up to you, and it's perfectly fine. So at this point, we should have written a poem, a short story, and made a map. I'm sure your world is fantastic, and I hope one day I can visit. Thank you.